Peace and blessings. This is Lisa Marie Goodson of the Blackberry Beauty Transformative Academy, Ancient African Wisdom for the Modern Sister. Peace and blessings, everyone, and thank you so much again for joining my channel. So something I want you all to know is that I read all of the comments. I read as many of the comments as I possibly can, especially when I, first upload the video. And I want you to know that I'm listening, okay? And I hear you. I know that my changes may, startle you, or my changes may uplift you. My changes may uproot you. My changes may get you angry. I know all of the feelings that you're feeling because I felt every single one of them when I wasn't in the place that I thought that I could be in, or even if I didn't know if I could be in it. I just wasn't happy about my place, and I wanted somebody to be there either with me or to save me. Sometimes I realized that when I look back at my life that I was really afraid of my greatness. Like, I've seen glimpses of my greatness. Like, I know you'll look at me now, you'll go, wow, Sister Nubia, she's married, she just bought land, they're about to build a house. Sister Nubia, I saw her in that documentary, Urban Kryptonite. I saw her in another documentary called Full Body Detox, and I think she's gonna be in another documentary with Leonard Honor called A Critical Analysis of NWA. I've seen her in speaking engagements, and it seems like every time I see her, she's growing, something as good is happening to her. She's really getting her just desserts. I see her growing and I see her changing. And I'm so thankful for the Lisa Marie that you see in front of you. But you know what? It wasn't always like this. Okay? I was a little girl with 2 brothers and 1 sister and a beautiful single mother growing up in Brooklyn. My mother was so beautiful. She was this beautiful, tall, dark-skinned, skinny, statuette, gorgeous woman. And my mother had dreams and hopes and desires just like the rest of us. But my mother died at 57 years old of lung cancer. And I'm not just telling you this story so that you could feel sorry for me. I'm not just telling you about my mother so that you could have sympathy for me. I want to tell you about my mother, Marie, so you can know a little bit of something about this Lisa Marie that you're looking at right now. I want to tell you that she had gifts and talents that unfortunately went unused. I want to tell you about the struggle that I had coming up, and I know that that struggle has gotten me where I've been, but I know that a lot of you are going to relate to the story, and let me just tell you how it was. We was poor, okay? We was poor. We did not have a lot of money, and we definitely didn't have a lot of food. So when you see how small I am or how thin I get, y'all, I'm telling you, I earned it righteously, okay? I learned it from being trained not to eat a lot of food. And I remember the times that my beautiful mother, my mother was this talented woman who was definitely a healer. She could read cards, she was metaphysical, she could read people's energy. People used to come up and to her all the time to get readings. Now, imagine having a mother who everybody loved. Everybody wanted to know what she saw, what she thought. So imagine me, this little girl, and I'm walking down the street holding my beautiful mother's hand, and everybody would stop her. It'd be the wino on the corner. Hey, Miss Marie, so you seen anything good today? And I think, okay, seen anything good? What they talking about? I mean, don't they out here more than my mama? Don't they see more than she do? And then they would ask her, so can I come up and sit at your table and talk to you? And as I got older, I'm thinking, it's just a cold word that men use to get up in a woman's house, like get up in a woman's house, I don't know. And eventually I realized that when they would literally come up the stairs, ride that elevator 6 flights up to the project apartment that we lived in, knock on our door. My mama would open the door gracefully or tell one of us, could y'all go get that door for me? And I see her at the table with what they are now, I understand they were tarot cards, and she would be shuffling them cards, shuffling them cards, being there with a real serious face. And the people, whether it was a man or a woman or a youngster or a grandmother, her grandchild, or a mother and her son who was in trouble and he was at risk of going to jail again. And my mama would sit there and read the cards, and every time somebody left, I saw them smile and was happy. They would tell me, little girl, little Lisa Marie, I just want to tell you that you are so lucky to have the mother that you have. She is amazing. And I would think, wow, you know, I would ask my mother, well, what you doing when they come? What is that you do? And she said, I'm working, baby. I'm working. I'm doing my work. I'm doing my job. And I kept thinking, okay, wait a second. Because right after that, we would say, okay, we hungry, you know, Ree, Mom, you know, do you have anything to eat? And she'd be like, look, this is what we gonna have. And she would pull out this box of flour, and she would pull out this stick of butter, and if we was lucky, she would pull out some jelly. And she would show us, put the flour in the bowl, and then add some water, and then add a little butter, and butter the pan, and then put it into a muffins type, and put it in the oven. And then it come out the oven, and she sliced the bun or the biscuit, and also if we were lucky and had jelly, put the jelly first, the butter, if we were lucky and had butter, and then the jelly, and put it on them biscuits and tell us this is what we was gonna have for dinner. And that was on a good day. There was times that we were so hungry that all we could afford was my mother would scrape up pennies and nickels and dimes and quarters, but a lot of pennies. And she would put them together, and she would tell us to run down to the store and get 2 Snicker bars. Sometimes she would get these candy bars called marathon bars because they were longer. And what she would do with the bars is she would sit down and put the bars on. We would go down to the store, and we would get the 2 candy bars, sometimes 1. And if it was a marathon bar, it was 1. If it was a Snicker, maybe 2, if we could afford it. And she would open them up, throw the wrappers away. She would take out a little knife. It wasn't even a sharp one, maybe a butter knife. And she would cut each slice. And I noticed that she cut them in 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I didn't mention, it was myself, my sister, and 2 brothers. And it was my mom. And I used to watch her cut the pieces, and then she gave one to my brother. She gave one to my oldest brother, gave one to my youngest brother, gave a piece to me, and gave a piece to my sister. And we would look and we would eat, and we would eat and understood that there was nothing more, and we would drink lots of water afterwards. And then we would ask, but Ree, my mama's name was Marie and we called her Ree, but Ree, where's your piece? And she said, it's not enough. I'm not gonna eat. Just as long as you all eat, I'm gonna be okay. That was her famous line. Just as long as you all have, I'm gonna be okay. So then the next 2 or 3 days, you know, we walk outside and walk through the project, go to the corner store, my mother and I, hand in hand. And again, somebody would stop her. This time was an older woman, and ask her, could she come up and see her? And I told my mom, I said, Mama, is she coming up so you could do some work? And she said, yes. Yes, baby, she is. And so the woman came up, and she stood for hours, and she would leave all happy, and my mama would close up her cards and put them up, wrap them up in the cloth and put them away. And at night, again, we either had biscuits or a candy bar, or sometimes just nothing. And see, what I couldn't understand was, how could my mom, who said she was working, why we never had any money? And then I understood later on, somebody else, one of my aunts, I asked her, I said, how come my mom says she working? All these people come up, they come in sad, they leave happy, but my mama always, but the next day or that night, we never have anything to eat if she's working. They said, what your mama has is a gift, is what my aunt told me. And your mama has a gift, and that's the kind of work she do. She gives the gift to other people. But I said, but she says she's working. But that's her work, but why she ain't getting paid? Why is she not getting paid? I couldn't understand it. And as I grew up and seeing this over and over again. My mama giving away this gift. My mama showing everybody all that she could do. And we growing hungrier, and she's growing weaker and thinner and sicker and poorer. And I vowed from that day on, that with the day that I turned 18 years old and was able to go get a job, I vowed that my mama would never see a hungry day. Not just me, my oldest brother, my sister, myself, and that we were never going to be hungry. And I want you to know, just like every other child, when I got out of high school, my grades were good. I applied to college. I was ready to go to college. And I got offered a job in the summer before I would go off to college. And when I thought about college came and I was supposed to quit the job and go to college, when I thought about my mother sitting at that table, reading people, talking to people, helping people, but not getting paid, not having no money, and we being hungry, I decided that college was for suckers. That's what I thought, and I was gonna go work. And what I did, I thought that I was being so different from my mother. I thought that me working and really getting a paycheck was better than my mama working and getting nothing, but sicker and tired and thinner. And what I realized was I was giving away all my gifts just like my mother. And I was getting this minimal payment. So see, in my mind, I didn't quite yet learn how to ask for what I wanted. I didn't quite yet learn how to get what I deserve. All I learned was to do better than my mother, to do better than my mother. Now, how many of you are living a life where you're not doing great, where you're giving away all your gifts, where you're not being adequately compensated, but the one thing that you can say is that you're doing better than your mother, doing better than your mother? See, what I realized, and this is why when you ask me, why am I raising my prices? Why am I asking for more? Because you deserve more, and so do I. Because I actually, in that sense, don't want to just do better than my mother. I want to do as great as my mother could have did. I want to do as great as my mother should have did. That's what I want. You know, I know it's hard. I know it's hard changing. I know it's hard changing your mind and changing your circumstances and changing your belief systems to stop believing that it's just your luck. You was born into poverty. You black and you poor and you can't get out. The man got a foot on your neck every day. I know about that. See, you got to understand that. But I also know that I got to do just better than my mother. And so I've seen how perseverance and persistence can get you what you want, but it wasn't the easiest thing for me to take in. See, I had a brother, my brother, who's still around. My brother's name is Waleed. My brother is tall, dark, and handsome. His skin is like, y'all talk about my melanated skin. No, his is smooth like a baby's bottom, y'all. He is beautiful, okay? And he's always been that way, very athletic. As a matter of fact, in junior high school, they called him Mr. Olympia. Okay? And he was quite athletic. He could run, he could jump, he could play kickball, football, baseball, basketball. He was just a jack of all trades, just physically a dynamo. And he is 2 years older than me. And I remember when he entered into junior high school, he basically dominated all the sports, and he was the big man on campus. So 2 years later, here come little Lisa, who also was athletic, who also had a natural ability to run, to jump, to kick, to play ball, to do all kinds of things. But his specialty was this thing, do you remember this? In New York, if you're from New York, there was this thing called the Olympiad. And it was a program, or like the Olympics, and different junior high schools would compete against other junior high schools for the gold or the bronze or the silver or the bronze. And so my brother was the broad jump. If you remember, this is the broad jump. It's where it's this long mat that had numbers on it, which was measurements in feet. And your thing was to jump as furthest you can. And the one who jumped the furthest held the record. Well, my brother, Wally, this tall, dark, and handsome brother, this well-built, athletic brother, and this genuine, kind, and sweet brother, was so bad as a broad jumper that they called him off the mat Wally. Okay, off the mat Wally. And so he actually, so I guess you figure from the name, he jumps off the mat. Nobody in the whole district could beat him. So when I came, there was no real girls in the school representing the broad jumpers, and I had this natural ability to jump as well. And I remember that his teacher, I never forget, Mr. Vernon from junior high school 51 in Park Slope, Brooklyn on 5th Avenue. If he still did, that'd be amazing. But Mr. Vernon, he thought my brother was quite talented, and he said, you can be too. And he said to me, you know, Lisa, I think you got talent, and I want to train you. And I thought, oh, really? Okay, because you got to understand, the reason why I had that oh really reaction was nobody ever saw me. Nobody ever pointed me out. Nobody ever bigged me up. Nobody ever said I could do anything. I mean, I come from a family that everything was either too small, my clothes, it was too little, food, you know, it was too late getting to school, too late getting that lunch, the free breakfast, too late. So it was always too little, too late. So when somebody came to me and said, I see talent in you, and if you train real hard, this is what he said, Mr. Vernon, if you do the work, Lisa, I'm telling you, you could go far. You could represent our school in the Olympiad. So what did I have to lose? I had nothing else. This was somebody who thought I was important and saw my talents and decided that if I worked really hard, that I could have this too. And so every day after school, I would train. Every day I would go to the gym, and we had to do these things called obstacle courses. And I remember myself having to run under things, then run and jump over stuff, and then dodge things from this side, and then move to this side, and then again run back and crawl under. Then I had to jump over, then I was dodging this, and I was dodging that. So I was learning how to get through things. But I didn't know that that's what I was being taught. I was learning how to get through. And so eventually I got stronger, and he was like, okay, Lisa, this is it. You're really ready to train this good. You know, you're the broad jumper. You're going to represent the females. This is what I need you to do. And he said, I need you to jump on the table. I said, what do you mean? Like jump on the table? Like, couldn't understand it. He said, yeah, let me show you. So he put the table right here. And it was about this high. Oh, matter of fact, it was about this high. And he said to me, I want you to stand right in front of the table. I'm laughing because, you know, just the memories of this ish right here. And he said, I want you to stand right in front of this table. And he said, and I want you to jump up on the table and jump back down. Jump up, jump back down. Jump up, jump back down, jump up, jump back down right in front of me. This is what I want you to do. And he said, I want you to do it 10 times. So I looked at him and I said, you know what, Mr. Vernon, I don't think that I can do it. It's hard. He said, how you know it's hard? You didn't even try it. Well, it looked hard. He said, well, looks are deceiving. You can do it. I believe in you. Jump. So I jumped once, and then twice, and then 3 times. I even got to 5 times. I even got to 7 jumps. And it was the 8th jump. I saw myself struggling. I got up on that table and I made 8. The number 9 was iffy, y'all. I got close to the table, got on it, almost fell back, but didn't caught myself, brought myself back down. The last and final one, number 10. I get up right in front. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I can remember that day like it was yesterday. And I stood in front of that table and I jumped up on that damn table and I fell. I jumped, and I went to balance myself and I fell back and I scraped my knee, and you can't see it from here, but I still got the scar to prove it. And I was in pain. I cried. I told him I didn't want to do it anymore. He told me, go home, rest, come back in 3 days and do it again. I'm going to tell you, I looked at him like, yeah, he is tripping. We ain't never doing this again. This ain't never going to happen again. And I went home and I'll never forget, it was the next day, went to school, said hi, how are you, Mr. Vernon? He said, I'll see you in 2 days. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna see you 2 days. Next day, come back, come in, see him in the hallway. Mr. Vernon, how are you? Okay, Lisa, I'll see you tomorrow. I said, oh yeah, tomorrow, I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Well, tomorrow came, and that morning I woke up and I told my mother, I said, you know what, Ree, I'm sick and I don't want to go. I'm sick and I'm tired and I don't want to go to school because I'm sick. And she said, okay, are you sure you're sick? Okay, well, stay home. My beautiful, handsome, tall, dark, handsome brother walks in the room and tells my mother that, look, she ain't sick. And he looks at me, he said, I know you're scared. I know you're scared. I know you think you're going to fall again, but I'm telling you, you can do it. You are strong enough. You have it in you. You can do it. Now, I'm sitting there going, that's easy for you to say. This man got records upon records. He done ran the fastest in track. He is off the mat, Wally. He can play football and basketball, and he's telling me that I could do it. And so I said, that's easy for you to say. You always do it. Everybody loves you. You excel in sports. And he said, do you think it was always like that? He says, Nubia or Lisa, do you know how many times I fell? I never saw that. Nobody ever told me. I never saw that part. He said, I said, but he said, and do you know how many people were better than me? That could run rings around me, shoot more baskets than I could shoot, throw the football further than I could. I said, well, okay, well, where are those people? Because right now, you the king of the school. He said, they quit. When it got hard, they quit. When they didn't when somebody came in better, that was younger and faster, that could throw the ball further, that could shoot the basket more higher, they quit. He said, but I didn't. I just kept doing it and practicing and going for it and moving and doing it. I didn't quit. That's the only reason why he said, I'm here and they not. Now, I got to tell you, my brother was always an old soul. Like, I mean, always an old soul. And I just listened to him and I thought, okay, you know what? I can do this. So I went to school reluctantly. And I get in front of Mr. Vernon, I say, Mr. Vernon, I'm ready. He said, well, why are you looking all sad? I said, because I'm scared. My knees still hurt. I fell before. He said, you don't have to fall again. See yourself succeeding. See yourself jumping on that table 10 times. And y'all, that was the first time that I was ever consciously introduced to visualization. The first time ever. And I sat there and for a few moments, I closed my eyes and I literally saw myself jumping on that table 10 times over and over and over again. Eventually, I got in front. I was tired. It was number 9. That was not a good number for me the last time. I was scared. I was nervous. But you know what? I already saw myself doing it. So I stood in front of that table and I jumped on that table. And I came back down and I landed perfectly. And they was, yeah, clapping and screaming and everybody was happy. And I knew from that day that no matter how hard things got, I was not going to quit because I had a lot of things come up. I mean, after all that fanfare, I came home, we still was hungry, we still didn't have enough. My mom was still giving her gift away. People lined up at the door trying to talk to her, getting her advice. I still couldn't understand how you could have so much, but you get so little. But even though I didn't understand it, even though I tried to get away from it, I too started living my life well. It's my gift, and I kept giving and giving. And I look at my mother, when my mother passed away of lung cancer at 57 years ago, and I looked at her and I said, I guess she didn't want enough. I guess she didn't think that she could have all that she wanted because she gave, and these people are successful, and my mama's not even here. And I said to myself, I could do better. I know that hunger, I know that poverty, I know that, but you know what? I also know all the feature films that I were in and the documentary. I know all the places that I spoke to. I know the trip to London, England. I know the buying of land. I know the getting married. I know the highs. And I've seen the lows. I refuse to compromise. I refuse to pretend that I don't know what I have, and I refuse to give it away for nothing. And you should as well. I know you. I know you know a little bit of this. I know what I told you was a little bit of you. I know the struggle that you have been through. But I know where you could go. I know what the other side is. I know what it's like to put in the work to get exactly what you want. See, let me tell you what it is. It's the ability to understand that you don't have to be the best in the room. You don't have to be the best on the field. You just have to work harder than everybody else. You just have to show up every day. You just have to be willing to do the work. So if you are sitting on the fence, if you are contemplating joining this next intensive, traveling outside, minding your money for prosperity and abundance, I'm telling you that you can do it. You can gain something. You could actually be that little girl standing in front of that table and you fell. But you're willing to get back up again, and you're going to hear the fanfare and everybody clapping for you because you got something. When you see somebody that's successful and on their way to greater success, ask them their story. Ask them where they've been and where they've come from. See, so nobody on this group, nobody in the comment section can tell me that I should understand what it's like to be poor and on food stamps and on welfare and all this stuff and I should be sympathetic to them. Nobody was sympathetic to me, and thank goodness that nobody treated me differently because I was poor. I could have said, Mr. Vernon, see, I'm poor. Mr. Vernon, see, I ain't have enough to eat last night. See, Mr. Vernon, we actually was eating some pieces of a goddamn candy bar, and sometimes we have biscuits with jelly. Nobody wanted to hear it. He didn't see that. He didn't know about that story. All he saw was a woman who had gifts, a young lady, a girl who had gifts, and he saw me excelling. He didn't see the story. He didn't need to see the story. He didn't need to hear the story. He saw the gifts. And thank goodness that he didn't want to hear the story. Thank goodness nobody, not even my brother who lived in the same house with me, my beautiful, black, glowing, handsome brother Walik, who lived in the same house, the oldest in the house, knew the situation, and he kept going. He said I wasn't the most talented, I wasn't the strongest, I didn't have the most ability. I had the most persistent. I believed in myself. I wanted it. What do you want? I know what you want. You want to be wealthy. You want to be free. You want to have abundance and prosperity. I know you're afraid. I see the fear. I know it. The fear comes out as, why are you leaving us, Nubia? Why don't you understand we can't afford it, Nubia? Why are you not understanding? Why are you taking down your videos? Why are you privatizing your videos? Why are you abandoning us, Nubia? Because you know why? Because if I stay with you, we're going to go down together. And I'm not trying to do it. If I move forward, we can come up together. And that's what I see. I know you can do it. I know you have it in you. And I know you want it. So I'm going to teach you in the group, in the intensive that starts September 3rd on Friday, Minding Your Money for Prosperity and Abundance, to change your money mindset, to bring in more abundance, to effectively set goals and achieve them, to look at life from a different perspective, and to picture your future the way you really want to be. Picture yourself at number 9, getting on number 10, and jumping on that table. And listening to all the people applaud for you. You're worth so much more than sitting down on the couch talking about you can and you don't know why, and you never had and you never will. Winners don't make it that way. I took my mother's name, the name she gave me, Lisa Marie, because I know that my mother's gift lies inside of me. And I know that my mother wanted me to have more than enough. I know that my mother wanted me to be compensated for the work that I do. And I know that my mother is cheering and smiling right now because her little girl, Lisa Marie, has come home to herself, and I want to bring you with me. I love you all. You can go to my website. It's called Minding Your Money for Prosperity and Abundance. It starts September 3rd, and I hope to see you there. Yeah. I hope to see you there. This is Lisa Marie Goodson of the Blackberry Beauty Transformative Academy, Ancient African Wisdom for the Modern Sister. Peace and blessings.